it's one of those weeks, Brian, where we could go through a long list, but be here a long time injury-wise. Callum Watkins to start with. After hearing you at the weekend, it sounds like worst fears realised. Really, what sort of a blow is it going to be without him now for the rest of the season?
It will be a blow for sure. But I quit, straight away. I'll say that we'd have to get on with it. That's the attitude straight away. And I've had a brief conversation with Callum about it, but it's only brief because I'm sure he's been inundated with messages, condolences, and but his attitude, he's pretty philosophical as well. You've got to get on with it, and we've got a good chunk of the season left, plus Challenge Cup, and whoever takes his shirt over the next 2 or 3 weeks will do a good job, and we'll plan accordingly without Callum. But that's not to say that we're getting over it too quickly, and it is a blow for him, it's a blow for us. He's our captain. He's been fantastic as a captain so far this year. I knew he'd be good, but I didn't realise just how good he'd be. And Callum really does talk with some authority. He's very measured in what he says, and he's got the full backing of the players. The players love him. It's great to see him speak, on a platform on game day through the week, and we're going to miss some of that, but at the same time he'll be around, and we'll still hear from him. You'll
have seen this, I'm sure, over the years with players missing big chunks of the season. From a mentality standpoint, how do you think Callum's going to deal with that? What sort of character is he at dealing with big moments of adversity like this?
Ask him. I could give it a second-hand opinion. He's been through this before. He's done his other knee and had some lengthy layoffs with injuries, but and he's been good. And while you don't want to be too dismissive of it, but at the same time you've got to say it's part of the game. And nobody around here is going to be dragging their heels and moping about it, and that can be perceived as being a bit like you don't care. But we just got to get on with it. We've got to crack on. We've got to beat Catalans this week, and then we've got to go beat Lee in the Challenge Cup next week, and we've got to get some momentum in the league, and that's our main focus. And Callum's not part of that right now.
Another one who's not going to be part of it, Nathaniel Patero, looks like he's had no luck really since joining the club on the injury front. So yeah, how I suppose freak is it that he's done these 2 injuries this season in such freak circumstances?
Yeah, it's hard to explain. Very similar to Keith Galloway, who snapped one Achilles, and the following season he snaps the other Achilles, and we don't see anything of him. Nathan, it's a shame, because I just thought, certainly in practice, but the couple of games that he had with us back from injury, he showed some stuff, and against Castleford, although in very difficult circumstances, he looked okay. I mean, bearing in mind he'd had a stunted pre-season because of his knee, then he bust a bicep, and he comes back and busts another bicep. So the amount of running time he's had with us, and some of those strategic understandings of what we do, you can only get that really through muscle memory of going through it in practice and in games, and he's had very little of that. Yeah, I think he's shown some glimpses there that he could have been very good for us this year. So we'd have to wait another 10 weeks at least before we get to see that again.
Do you think he could still have a big part to play when he recovers from this?
He'll have a part to play for sure. He's going to come back, I think, is it about around 24 or something like that, maybe 25, so he'll have a part to play. How big, I don't know, but certainly we've got another 5 games plus playoffs after that.
Another update this week, James Buchanan having surgery on his knee to clean it up, we're told. I mean, it feels like that couldn't have come at a worse time. How much of this had to be done now? How much of a decision was made on the timing of this one, perhaps?
Well, they could go on his knee and close it down completely and say that's you done. They probably could retire Jones if they wanted to, based on what they'd find in his knee. But just in the immediate, they could do more work in that. But Jones's decision is to have the minimal work done. There's some bits flapping about and loose, and it's crazy what players go through, isn't it? We're talking about opening the bloke's knee up and taking bones out of there so we can carry on playing, and that's what Jones has decided to do. He'll miss about 4 weeks hopefully, no more.
Were it a different season, had you a different injury list, do you think that might have been a different situation, and perhaps he would have gone for the perhaps longer term, as you said, maybe closing him down?
Knowing Jones, no, he'd probably just said 2 or 3 weeks and put me back out there.
In terms of the rest, as I say, a long list. For those who have been sort of classed as doubtful for this weekend, are there some that you are more hopeful than others? Are there individuals who you'd be willing to say you are hopeful perhaps of being involved at the weekend?
Well, we trained today and we had minimal training. Then we got a session before we got to Catalans, and then we'll get to find out basically who's putting their hand up, and I can't tell you that just yet. There's a few doubtful. Stevie Ward's carrying something, Brett Delaney's carrying something, Matt Parcell's carrying something, Joe Moon's carrying something. Some of the, and my guess is some will and some won't go to Catalans with us. I can't tell you who those are at the moment, but we're a pretty busted group right now.
What do you foresee that squad, I suppose, experience looking like? Could there be a chance now that we see some debutants? Will there be some lesser experienced players?
There'll be lesser experienced players. I don't know about debutants. There'll be lesser experienced players, but when you say lesser experienced players, a lot of that squad went through 2016 together. And I know this, right here and now, I know everybody's feeling a little bit flat. And I know everybody's feeling that, that we've lost momentum in the season. I'm not so pessimistic about it. I've already seen this group so far this year go away to St Helens and beat them, beat Warrington at Warrington, beat Wigan and Hull at home convincingly as well, even though during those games there were patches where we were off. For large parts of those games we beat them all convincingly, and that's still in us. Throw on 6 props that I'm missing at the moment, and I know we'll come good, and we just hope that the purple patch that we will have a purple patch. We all just hope that doesn't come too late, but some of that's taken out of our hands, in terms of squad and experience of the squad. But a lot of the young kids, like something like an Ash Golding, for instance, who'll play this week, went through 2016 with us and hurt all the way through 2016. Just if you isolate him as a test case, some of his performances weren't great during 2016, and the pressure of it got to him and others. He's a couple of years older, a couple of years down the line, and been through this type of thing before, and he's excited as anything about going to Catalans and going into their backyard and doing a job, which is what we're focused on.
Obviously, as a head coach, your primary role is coaching the players, but at this sort of time, do you feel a responsibility to try and help manage the expectations of supporters, say, to help them appreciate just the difficulty that you're going to have?
Yeah, I don't for sure, but our fan base is pretty experienced. They're more experienced than any other team in Super League in terms of going through the highs and the absolute lows, and they know what's going on. And you'll always have a group that will be unhappy every time we concede a try. But I think in my time here, there's been some really tough moments, but the vast majority of the fans and the fan base, they get it. They get what it's like. They understand that you put faith in the group. They usually, more often than not, repay that faith. And this is just one of those moments. And let's not forget, we're not completely way off. We're not tail spinning anywhere. This is not the dark times that we saw in 2016. We're just going through a bit of a sticky patch, and we haven't quite nailed too much yet this year. Yeah, with a few more personnel back and a little bit of momentum, then when Juggernaut starts rolling, we'll scare everybody.
Just how big an achievement would it be to put together a good run at this stage in the season, given the difficulty you're having with injuries at the moment?
It'll be a task. It'll be a challenge. There's no doubt. We need to win. We need to play well. There's a few things we need to do, but you recognise it's a task. It is a challenge to get that done, and I don't think those challenges and tasks are going to become any easier over the next 3, 4, maybe 5 weeks, until we start getting some of those bigger men, some of those names back, and some rotation options as well within my squad. The same men out, just go out and do it again. The same men don't go do it again, and nobody's having a rest, nobody's having a session off, nobody's having training off, unless they're injured. And that doesn't look like easing up for at least another month.
Is this the worst you've ever seen?
No, as it is, no. That's my point. It absolutely isn't the worst I've ever seen. And this is why I'm saying to everybody, hold your nerve, calm down, don't overreact. It's not easy. and whatever decisions or opinions people have, good, but just make sure that we're not spooking the players, and that our players don't need spooking, they need support, they need people backing them at the moment, because history tells us when you do that, they usually more often than not repay that faith.
In terms of the support you talked about on the pitch, I mean, is there any scope in the short term for bringing in support, loan players, in permanent signings in the short term? Perhaps?
Yeah, there is, always is. And Garrett Hetherington and I always discuss these things. We're constantly on with it. But there's a couple of criteria or a couple of things that you've got to bear in mind. One of them is who's available. And then quickly on that topic, why are they available at this stage of the year? And the second one is, if you're going to bring anybody in, you can't just bring them in for a week or two. You're bringing them in longish term. Are they going to be better? Because they're going to be better, not just equally as good. Are they going to be better than what we've already got? And we always run those two factors past any potential list or any name that gets thrown up to us. We, 3 or 4 times a week, whether it be via email or a phone call or word of mouth, there's always somebody being suggested or highlighted or forwarded to us, and we just have to make sure that whoever we bring in is they're available for the right reasons, and they're better than what we've already got.
What sort of a challenge are Catalan going to present at this stage? Then what sort of difficulty is it going to be for you going down there and playing on Saturday?
Just the same as always. Going in their backyard and trying to get a result in their backyard is tough, and playing in front of their crowd is hard. I've got to give the referee some credit. I think over the years that's become less of a challenge for referees, or the referees seem to have got more, they seem to be more resilient about buckling towards the Catalans crowd, which are incredibly vocal out there. And when they bay for a penalty, they usually got it, and it's less so now. I think the referees are a bit more attuned, a bit more conditioned to that. But Catalans themselves are going through a battle. They're trying to gain some momentum as well, so it's going to be a task. Cheers.
Brian, I just wanted to check on the progress of Richie Maida, whether he's seen the specialist. I imagine that he'd be quite keen to obviously play this weekend.
Yeah, he's going through his return to play protocol. He's got certain stages to get through, and he's passed all of them so far. He's got a running session today, he's got some contact tomorrow, and then got something to do on Friday as well. If he passes all those, he can play.
From the point of view now, is he more than likely to play than not?
As long as he keeps passing. He's telling us he'll play and we think he'll play, but as soon as he fails one of those, he's then got to go back to the first stage and do that 5-day return to play, which obviously would rule him out.
It seems only a couple of weeks ago we were talking about Jimmy Kinehorst's loan being extended. Obviously now he's been recalled. A lot has changed in those 2 weeks, as we've been talking about already. How ready is he to prove himself and fill some of the gaps?
I don't know. Ask him. Yeah, I could tell you, I could guess, and I imagine he's pretty focused. I had a conversation with Jimmy 10 days ago, just catching up with him and finding out how things are at Widnes, and he spoke highly of his time, spoke highly of Dennis Betts, the environment that he was in, but at the same time expressed his desire to come back and play for us. And the way we left the conversation was, well, we never know what happens, we'll see. And then literally about 3 or 4 days later, I'm making a phone call saying, like, we're coming back in, Jim. So it's funny how things pan out. He's conducted himself really good, Jim. It's not been easy for him to go out on loan and get some game time, yet he's done that. And it's been really beneficial to him. Had he been kicking his heels with us and involved in some training sessions and playing at Featherstone, and I'm not sure how further down the track he'd be as a player, but I'm more than sure being at Widnes has been a well beneficial exercise.
For him, I imagine it's not just about coming back into the side because of the injuries you have, but proving perhaps to himself and putting himself in the frame where you're concerned for the rest of the season, even when you start to get some of these players.
Of course, yeah, that's his aim. He wants to get that starting shirt for sure.
One of the other players you mentioned already, Ashton Golding, about a year ago he signed a long-term contract with the club. Obviously he had disappointment, as we've already talked about in previous press conferences, towards the back end of last season. How have you seen him grow in this year since he signed that long-term contract?
I'd put him in the category with Jamie Jones. If you had 13 Ash Goldings on the field, you wouldn't lose too many games. The bloke's got that much enthusiasm, that much passion for it, cares deeply, and he's incredibly humble. He's got a massive amount of humility. He's aware of certain things, more so than a bloke his age. I used to talk to JP about Jimmy Peacock, about some of the things that we'd like him to do, yet he couldn't do anymore. And JP would note it. He'd probably tell me that JP. The conversation was the other way around. It was JP telling me that I can't do those things anymore. And that comes with experience. That comes with being post 30. Ash Golding's got some awareness of what he needs to work on. And it's not just that I'm telling him and he's agreeing with it. He knows. And I have these conversations with Ashton. And when he leaves the office, the bloke who leaves my office is a bloke who he's guaranteeing me that he'll work on certain things, improve, get it right. He cares deeply. And I don't always get that with young players. I get some young players who they'll agree with me, but they'll agree through gritted teeth. You know, they do it under suffering. So if you want me to improve, I'll improve, but I think I'm good enough now. Where Ash Golding, this humility that he shows, it's incredible. So he's a pleasure to coach. You know, and we knew that he was a pretty special individual when we first signed him on, but you know, of all the experiences that he goes through, good and bad, he's great. And you know, he does rub off on the rest of the squad. You know, the enthusiasm and the passion that he has is great for us.
We spoke about the preparation for Magic Weekend and having to go up there the day before, and here you are the week after again, an away trip to Catalans. I imagine a similar situation. Is it unfortunate timing with the injuries and the limited time you have?
No, it's just part of the game. No, we knew this was coming. Going away to Catalans, you know, after a very disappointing performance against Castleford, quite often is good. You know, you're together. We'll knock around together. We'll be together as a group for 48 hours, and it's probably what's needed at this stage. With
the experienced players that you still have available, the likes of Tom Briscoe and Brian Hall, for example, I imagine you'll be looking to them on the field to lead the youngsters through what could be a difficult period in the next couple of weeks.
What will be a difficult period, not what could be, it will be a difficult period. How successful we are within that, that's in question, that can be debated. Yeah, they'll step up, already are stepping up, have been stepping up all year actually. Tommy and Hawley, I think, are in fine form, both those fellas. Work really hard for the group, but somebody like a Cuthbert, Adam Cuthbertson is doing some showing some leadership skills there. Stevie Ward's going to be captain for the game against Catalans and will be captain for the next few games as well. You can already see he's walking a bit taller, got a bit more responsibility. He's proud as anything to wear that armband. So it's within this tough period, there's some good stories come out of it.
I asked you a similar question last week. I'll ask you it again. I know that perhaps things may or may not have changed for you. Are we in must-win territory now?
No, not yet.
Not for you now.
Keep asking, but not yet.
And then very much related to that, with the current league position and the draw for the Challenge Cup against Lee, no disrespect to the opposition, of course, is that the best opportunity, do you think, for you to win silverware this season? No, it's a great option for us to win silverware. It's not the only option for us to win silverware.
Perfect, thank you.
Sure.
Any further questions?
Thank you.
Stevie Ward is out. Does that mean you think he's going to be good to go for the week?